Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, everyone. Let's begin with singing a welcome to ourselves and to everyone here. We know this one, so we can sing it together. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Unity. Welcome to you. Welcome to everything going on in your life. Welcome to everything going on in your life and everyone in your life. And so in some ways, as we come together, we bring with us many people. We bring with us our concerns. We start off every service by bringing up the prayer box. Suzanne, one of our prayer chaplains and board members, is bringing it up. You bring up what's going on in your life. You bring up what you would like more of or less of. Thank you. Bring up your dreams, your needs, your questions. This is a place to come and be open and receptive, to welcome what's going on in our lives here at the Unity Church of Greater Rochester. This is a wonderful community. It makes a difference in our lives and makes a difference in the world. And so we have the mission and vision for Unity Rochester up here. Let's declare that together. We are the Unity Church of Greater Rochester. We envision a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Embracing all, we transform our lives using Unity principles. Transformation. It's about change. It's about growth. It's about healing. What needs to change? Where does the growth need to take place? What needs to heal? Within ourselves, within this community, within Rochester and Western New York, within our country and within the world, there's a lot that needs to grow and change and heal. So as we open ourselves to that here and now, we participate in that. We add to, what do we say? The growing movement of shared spiritual awakening makes a difference. We participate in that. We have an affirmation here for our community, for the health and vitality of Unity Rochester. Let's declare this together. The Unity Church of Greater Rochester is a radiating center of the light, love, and glory of God, mighty to attract its good and to share that good with others. The light, love, and glory of God within us and with us here. We settle into it. We settle into here and now. We settle into an affirmation of oneness, a state of oneness where we are connected with all people everywhere, where we join together in opening our minds and our hearts to the divine with every church, every spiritual tradition, in every mosque and temple and synagogue and sacred circle and individuals on a vision quest. We come together, all of us, open and receptive to God's living Spirit, open and receptive to healing, growth, and well-being. So it is. So it is. This is the 7th week in a series that we've been doing, looking at the book, How Then Shall We Live by Wayne Mueller. 4 simple questions to enhance the quality of life. The questions look simple, but the responses are deep. Who am I? Well, that's been a topic of philosophers and theologians for forever. We are the Christ. We are the Holy One of God. We are the light of the world. Each one of us has a purpose, has a particular situation in which we're called to be ourselves and make a difference. And we make that difference by deciding what we love. The second question is, what do we love? How do we focus our attention? Because what we love takes our thinking, takes the emotional energy that we have, takes the creative power of love and puts it all together and creates a powerful creative energy that manifests things, makes things happen. When do we do that? We do it now because we don't have much time. The third question is, how then shall I live knowing that I will die? What do I do knowing that my time is limited, that everything is impermanent? We don't waste time. We don't necessarily go charging forward and try to do everything all at once, but we proceed with a sense of ease and grace. And as we do that, we make a contribution to the world, and that's the fourth question. What is my gift to the family of the earth? Our lives. Our lives are the gift to the family of the earth. As we live our lives authentically, we make a difference everywhere. Here's an affirmation for ourselves. I am centered and poised in the mind of Christ. I know what to do, and I do it. It's not complicated, is it? Get centered. Connect with the self, with who you are at the deepest level. Connect with what you love. And there you will find something for you, something unique, something that applies to your life situation right where you are. I know what to do. And connected with the Christ within, with the presence of the Spirit of God, there's the energy to think the thoughts, to say the words, to take the steps to do what's ours to do. Let's declare this together. I am centered and poised in the mind of Christ. I know what to do, and I do it. I know what to do, and I do it. This is Palm Sunday. The story of Jesus knowing what he needed to do and finding the courage and the strength to do it. Each one of us has a unique path. Each one of us have unique gifts and talents. And so we may have similar paths, but sometimes individual paths open up space for all of us. So the path that Jesus of Nazareth took, agreed to, changed the world. It was dramatic. It was difficult. It was kind of mysterious. So, all over the world, people are celebrating Palm Sunday today. They're talking about different elements of the story, different aspects that story points to. Very traditional things, some things that don't quite fit with what we believe, and some other things that affirm completely where we are in our relationship with God, ourselves, and each other. So we're going to enter into this Palm Sunday story, and we're going to do that now by singing a traditional Palm Sunday hymn. It's a traditional old church melody, and the words were written a long time ago. They're from the Latin. Is that what it says there?
Theodulf of Orleans, translation John M. Neal.
Okay, so some medieval saint wrote these, or some medieval preacher wrote these. So let's join together and sing this. This is, if you want to look on if you want to see the music, it's on page 292 in the hymnal.
All glory, Lord, and honor to thee, Redeemer King, to whom the lips of children in sweet hosannas ring. Thou art the King of Israel, thou David's royal son, who in the name of God is the King and Blessed One. The company of angels are praising thee on high, and mortal man and all things created make reply. The people of the Hebrews with palms before thee went. didst accept their praises, accept the prayers we bring, who in all good delightest, thou good and gracious King. All glory, Lord, and honor to thee, Redeemer King, to whom the lips of children made sweet hosannas ring.
So it's a familiar story. A week before, was it a week? 5 days? Anyway, Jesus came into Jerusalem. Everybody knew he was coming. There were all sorts of rumors about who he was and what he would do. And he was disappointed in it because they didn't understand what was happening. Much of what they said, much of what they expected was just totally wrong. Sometimes we have misunderstandings in our lives, and we don't get things right. And in spite of that, goodness prevails. There was kind of this whole thing about Palm Sunday and the crucifixion and the resurrection, Holy Week. It's mysterious. It's strange. It's hard to understand. It's hard to explain. It's impossible to explain. There are a lot of theory, a lot of theology about it, a lot of interpretations and opinions about it. And so what I suggest to you is just to be with it and see what it brings up in you, because our reaction to the story is what's important. What it does to us and what it touches within us. So, Jesus had a true path of his soul that he needed to follow. His path, his calling. Not sure when he learned about it, how long he knew about it, but when he was going into Jerusalem that day, he knew what it was. He knew what he was supposed to do. He knew what would happen. But it was mysterious. I'm sure in the garden, he said, "Are you sure? Hey, give this job to somebody else. I don't know. I don't know if it's mine." But it got clear to him that it was his job to be a martyr. He chose martyrdom. That's a loaded word today. He told his disciples something about what was going on, what was going to happen. And his disciples said, "Oh no, we won't let that happen. We'll protect you." Or, "Don't go in there. Let's go somewhere else. Avoid that." The disciples didn't understand. Jesus didn't really understand, although he knew what was right. The crowd coming in, here he comes. Here comes the King of Israel. Wait a minute. He's on a donkey. Why isn't he on a horse? Why isn't he on an elephant? Why isn't he leading an army? Because isn't he supposed to come to free us from the Romans? There was this expectation that he would come with power. military power, power over what was happening to initiate change and to make change, impose it from the top. He came with a different kind of power. The Christ within us comes with the power to be with what's happening, the power to be connected with each other, the power to be in community, to be in harmony, to be radically inclusive and hold everything, the power of God's love. The crowd didn't get that. They were expecting something more traditional military defeat for the oppressors. There were some that maybe recognized the Prince of Peace. Children, maybe. It said that the rocks recognized him. It told that they were, some of the people in charge there told Jesus' disciples, he said, quiet the crowd down here. Tell them to be quiet. They're making a scene here. It's going to upset the Romans. And Jesus said, if they were quiet, the rocks will cry out. So there was something where he was in tune with nature, and he knew that what he was doing was in alignment with all of creation. His mission. Well, his mission was to demonstrate nonviolence, non-resistance, a message that is still only partially received and understood and followed today. It was a message that said that order and love and oneness will prevail. It's going to make a difference, and we have to be committed to that for long-term justice and growth and healing. Align ourselves with the quality of God. Put on the mind of Christ. Think about the oneness and love. Think about God in difficult situations. Rather than working from fear, we work from faith. And so his absolute commitment to non-resistance, to non-violence, to the belief that injustice, whenever it comes out into the light, will change. The darkness of human depravity, the darkness of humans' inhumanity to humanity, when it comes out into the light, is transformed by the light of God, by the love of God, by the order of things, of the order of the universe. Well, that's true. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen instantaneously. It doesn't happen overnight, but that's the nature of reality, or we believe that. He taught that. We believe that, and followers of him have taught that to their detriment in a way. It's a dangerous belief to believe in non-resistance and non-violence. You know, it cost Jesus his life, along with Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. and so many, many others who have protested, who have objected, who have interfered with the injustice in the world and have been run over by tanks by daring to stand up in front of them. I think Jesus knew he was going to be a martyr. He was committed to that, and that wasn't understood. He understood the danger. He understood the outcome. His soul understood that that was his path and he had to do it. There have been all sorts of things written about what that meant, what difference that made. All sorts of theology, doctrines, and dogmas about crucifixion, resurrection, injustice. Bring it into the light, bring it into ourselves, and see what it stirs up within us, and see what it activates within us to be ourselves, to follow our own unique path. Trust God, trust goodness, trust divine order. Trust God. You see the news, what's happening, just in the Ukraine, what's happening all over the world, many places, but just in the Ukraine, and then people rightfully ask the question, how could God let this take place? How can we trust God whenever we see these terrible catastrophes? Well, if God was a being, you might ask that question might be relevant. But God is being, not a being. God is existence itself. God is not just the consciousness of goodness and love, but God also holds the consciousness of selfishness and arrogance and evil. It's a oneness that we share. How can oneness allow this to happen? Oneness, the unconditional love, holds it and embraces it, so there's a presence of power that's available. Love holds it all. We're not separate. God is present in every situation. And so the traditional Christian theology about God participating in the suffering of humanity because God's Son died for us. Well, God's sons and daughters and children are dying in the Ukraine. Now, they're not being nonviolent, but they are standing up for their country. They are standing up for justice. And they know that they're standing up to some force that may seem supernatural. They're martyrs, in a way. They are sacrificing their lives, willing to sacrifice their lives for something greater, for an affirmation of justice and order, and the belief that injustice, when it is allowed, whenever the rock is pulled away and you can see what it's been hiding in the darkness under the rock, when it comes out, it's going to change. There will be healing and transformation. A lot of people in the Ukraine chose that. Many people were forced into it. They didn't choose. They happened to be in a place where they didn't have a choice. But they're defending their homes, making a difference. We're all making a difference. We all make a difference. So some people make a difference in a big way. Some people are pulled into a big situation like what's happening in the Ukraine. Some of us are fortunate enough to live a more secure life with a sense of peace and security. And we might wonder, how can I make a difference? I'm not supposed to be a martyr, am I? Probably not. That's a rare calling. Okay? There's a lot of tradition in that. There were, we make a difference by living our lives fully, by being fully alive. When we are fully alive, we vibrate with an energy that affects other people, and other people resonate with us, and we make a difference in the world. Making a difference. You know, you probably heard the old story about the boy on the beach tossing starfish. Thousands of starfish are washed up on the beach. He's throwing them into the ocean. Someone comes along and says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm saving the starfish." He says, "There's thousands of them. What can that doesn't make a difference." And he picked up one, tossed it in the ocean, and said, "Made a difference for that one." A little thing can make a difference. Let me finish by telling you a classic story. I think it came from Buckminster Fuller. "I am the trim tab," he says. A trim tab is a little piece of a much larger thing that affects it. So it's on airplanes and it's on ships. Let's take a ship. Let's take a giant cruise ship with many thousands of people on it. Giant city block floating out. And in order to steer it, it has a rudder, big rudder, heavy rudder. It would take an enormous amount of energy just to move that rudder because it's so big and heavy. So down at the end of the rudder, there's a little rudder. There's a little rudder that is easier to turn. And when that rudder turns, the big one turns. Okay, when it turns this way, the big one turns. And so the little one is called a trim tab. They have them on airplanes too to help the ailerons and the different things. A seemingly insignificant little piece can have the entire giant cruise ship change direction. Each one of us, in one way or another, is some sort of trim tab that affects something larger that can affect something even larger, starts a cascade of goodness when we are true to who we are, when we say, "This is me. This is my path. This is what I need to do." I can't explain it fully, but I don't need to explain it. I need to be true to it, to follow my true path. This is me.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are, but I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, I'm gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets hits my skin. Well, fire away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. We are warriors, yeah, that's what we've become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. And when the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, I'm gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me, look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, I'm gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, no apologies. And I know that I deserve your love. There's nothing I'm not worthy of. And I make no apologies, this is me.
Wow, woo!
Happy to have Suzanne back this week.
Hello. Let me see. Do I have this?
Yeah.
Setting, just. So yes, wonderful to be here with you today on this Palm Sunday. At least I brought my Kleenex this time. When you were singing, your singing and playing is so beautiful. Really, I think that they did the whole service. But so in the movie, The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy had to take a journey. And her first step was to embrace her fear so that she could discover her wisdom and her courage and her purpose. And Dorothy's journey is like our journey. It is our journey. All spiritual leaders speak of this epic soul journey that we all must take. That's why we are here, to take an epic soul journey, each one of us. Joseph Campbell talks about this epic soul journey as listening for our call to adventure. Listening for our call to adventure. And we have many calls throughout our lives. But the key is to listen to our deepest knowing so that we can hear this call, this courageous journey. And when we do, it enables us to be the best version of ourselves. Not the best version of anybody else, but the best version of ourselves. When we hear our call to adventure, sometimes it's frightening. So if we just put even a toe on our path and we check it out, then what happens is then our soul illuminates our path, just as Dorothy had the yellow brick road. Our soul will illuminate our path and we will know what to do and be given the strength to do it. Because starting out on our path, it ignites our courage. Courage means stand by your core. And so as we take even one step, we're able to see our path, and then we can take another step, and so on and so forth. I know that you all know what I'm talking about. So about 13 years ago, when I was sensing my path, I could sense, okay, there's something happening. I'm not exactly sure. But I woke up one day and I said to the universe, okay, I'm either going to get a horse or I'm going to get my PhD. It's true. And I knew it. So I was filling out an application for, I think it was Regency College, something like that in Denver. I was filling that out, but then I got an email from the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, and they had partnered with this organization that I was certified with to do equine therapy. And they said, we're sending you free horses. All you need to do is say yes. And so it's like, I told Dad, I'm not getting my PhD, I'm getting a horse. And the choice, though he was supportive, because he knew that was brewing in my life for a very long time. But it didn't make sense to a lot of people. People were saying, oh, that is so stupid, telling me that. Horses are so expensive, and it's ridiculous. Where would you keep this horse? And on and on and on. And so, and you need to get your PhD. You've been thinking about this your whole life. That's what you need to do. And so problems arise when we actually listen to what others tell us our path is. Because no one can know what my path is really, and I cannot know what anybody else's path is. And the very best thing we can ever do for someone else is to listen to what they are saying and support them on taking the steps that are on their path. Now, if we want to share our thoughts, we need to ask them, which I've said that before. So, and my life completely changed when I became a horse mother. So anyway, another example of a call to adventure that was not taken. And this happens to a lot of people. I knew a young man once. He knew that he wanted to be a policeman from the time he was like 6 or 7 years old. He just knew it. And so his parents didn't want him to be a policeman. There wasn't enough money in that. So they figured if they put him in a very expensive business school, that somehow he would discard that crazy dream of being a policeman, and he would become a very famous businessman that would make a lot of money. And so he went to school. You know, they were paying for it. He went to school. He still knew in the back of his mind that he was going to be a policeman. He graduated with his very expensive business degree. His parents would not support it. He wasn't strong enough to stand up. And so now he's doing something that he's making very little money. He's not following his dream, but and no one's happy. So when we take steps on our path, we are engaging in a very courageous act, however. We are loving ourselves in a way that maybe no one else can love us. When we're on our path and we take steps that way, it is about self-care and self-love. Because the more that we care for ourselves on this planet Earth, we are blessing the earth. We are blessing all of her creatures, and we are creating heaven on earth. So Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, I think I said that right. I should have asked you how I would say it. But when we take steps on our path, we are engaging in this courageous act, and von Goethe said this, until one is committed, and I'm sure some of you have heard this quote, it's around a long time, but it just felt so right for today, because Jesus was certainly hearing the truth in this, but until one is committed, there is hesitancy, always ineffectiveness. The moment one definitely commits oneself. God, this is very moving for me, and I've read this 100 times. But the moment one commits oneself, providence moves. all sorts of things occur to help that would never have happened before once we make this commitment. Assistance happens that no one could dream of. Whatever you can do or dream, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic. Begin it now. And each one of us, just being who we are blesses the world. Just being who we are. You know, I'll say this later. I had it later in the talk. I'm not as gifted as Nat. I have a lot of notes. But so a really fun way to discover our true path is to be willing to discover our creativity. Now, most people, when we say, oh, creativity or being an artist, don't we think about, well, we paint or we sculpt. Often that's what people think about if you say that you're an artist. And it's so not true. I flunked out of art class in 3rd grade and in 8th grade. And so, but anyway, it's not true. This beautiful church, your wonderful church here, I see so many. I was going to try to list the names and all that you do in here. I had this long list and I go, but I can't say it because I'll probably forget someone, because you all show up so beautifully here. You're just a wonderful church. And so there's really simple ways that people can express their love and creativity along. I mean, all the things that you do in here as volunteers is wonderful. But then, so as someone who's really needed the door held open for me a lot lately, it's been wonderful. People have been loving me that way. Or when you go out and you plant flowers for the world to see, that is blessing the world with your own creative talents. The Prayer Chaplains, I had to mention this one group. The Prayer Chaplains here volunteer to help this community in such wonderful ways, having boldly, with courage, saying, I want to pray for people. You know, that takes a lot of willingness and vulnerability. And so one more story. Christopher, our son, he has a degree in sociology and psychology. He followed in his mommy's footsteps, but he blesses the world with music. And he's the leader of his band. And one way that he nurtures his creativity is by rock balancing. I have no idea how he creates these rock sculptures. It seems impossible to me. It is, except for someone who has that gift. And the reason I'm mentioning this right now is that we need to have balance in our lives as we're following our own call to adventure. We need to have a balance from listening to our inner knowing voice and taking action, and listening to our inner knowing voice and taking action, and not getting sidetracked by what others will demand of us and tell us how stupid it is to get a horse instead of your PhD. So if we choose to follow our own path, things happen in a beautiful way. And so finally, I pose this question to you. So what makes us so afraid to express ourselves creatively? What makes us so afraid to be creative? One thing is our creative nature is just part and parcel of our true self. So sometimes what we create and show, if that's rejected or criticized, it feels like who we are is being criticized. And so we feel less than. So what we create, some outer thing we do, is criticized. We then take it inside as if we're unworthy. And this is what Jesus said to do when this happens. When you enter a city or home, if the home or town is worthy, let your peace rest on it. But if it is not, let your peace return to you. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, as you go forth out of that house or city, shake the dust off your feet. So many times when we have been rejected, we believe this rejection is about us, about our worth. And so Jesus tells us when this happens, shake the dust off your feet. When we don't shake the dust off our feet, we allow the dust to remain, and it becomes a magnet for other negative thoughts that we will take in and believe we are less than. And what is the dust? It is a sense that we are unworthy or we're less than. He said to shake the dust off your feet because our feet represent our understanding, understand. And the dust, if there's an erroneous belief, we need to get rid of it, shake it off, and let your peace return to you. And when we do this, when we shake the dust off our feet, this is where we can support one another so much. A couple of weeks ago, a very important person in my life was really sort of slamming me, criticizing me. And it was like, I just didn't get it. I've been with this person for a long time as friends. And finally, I was talking to Nat about it, and I was saying, this person said this to me and just keeps hammering me. But then in talking to Nat, because he was just listening, I realized I had opened the door for this person to sort of slam me with this criticism. So we also have to be mindful of are we sharing too much sometimes with people who just think they need to tell us what to do? So we have to have good boundaries, which means say yes when we mean yes and no when we mean no. And so with all of this in mind, we can realize that as we shake the dust off our feet, shake these negative beliefs off our understanding, we realize that in fact, it is true. We are made in the image and likeness of God and heir to the kingdom of all good. It is true. And so with all of this in mind, let us prepare for a time of meditation. Our meditation hymn is, I am as God created me.
In the light, in the love, in the glory of God I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God I am.
I am as God created me,
In the
in
glory
the light, in the love, in the glory.
in the
I am as
in
God
the
created
love,
me,
in the
in the
glory
light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me,
in the
in the
glory.
light, in the love, in the glory.
And now closing our outer eyes, I invite you to allow the focus of your attention to go deep within, going deep within to a holy center of love. And let us breathe into this place, this holy center of love within. And I invite you to imagine in this center of love, a gathering place, a sacred gathering place. and taking a seat in this your sacred gathering place. Imagine a spiritual teacher, a spiritual leader, an angel, or your higher self to join you. And they come to sit beside you. And looking into your eyes, you feel their love. Imagine them taking your hand, and eye to eye, heart to heart, soul to soul, in the presence of this perfect love that transforms everything unlike itself, but allow to come to mind one erroneous thought that you have been carrying about yourself. Perhaps it was taken on a long time ago. And allow this spiritual presence to remove this thought. For perfect love transforms everything unlike itself. And so we are witness to love's activity as it heals, transforms, and reveals who we are. And with all of this in mind, your spiritual teacher or presence tells you, you are as God created you. You are as God created you, in the light, in the love, in the glory. And so let us take this truth deeper into silence and be with this and our spiritual teacher just for a moment in the silence. And in this deep awareness that each one of us is made in the image and likeness of God, let us also bring to mind a loved one. Let us see their yellow brick road going out from them, their path. And let us simply imagine supporting them as they take steps on their path. And as we all join together in taking our own unique path, we are then creating heaven on earth, giving thanks that we are all worthy. We are worthy of divine love, transforming, divine light, guiding, divine life, revitalizing. And for this, let us be grateful. In the light, in the love, in the glory, we are.
Amen. Amen. So we take that into the day. We take that into the week. We'll probably wake up with that song in the middle of the night once in a while. That's a wonderful blessing. So we bless the giving of our time and our talents and our treasure now. Where is it? Here we go. We bless the giving of tithes and love offerings in support of Unity Rochester's ministry. We bless everything in our calendar. We bless everything in our checkbooks. We bless everything in our minds and hearts. It's the activity of love that flows through us and multiplies the good in everything and takes everything and works it together for good, even if we don't understand it, even if we have trouble believing it. Divine love is doing its work now. Let's declare this blessing together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful that we proceed on our paths.
Cool.
Loving you is always the right thing to do. Now can I can change things that I feel. If I could, maybe I'd give you my world. How can I? Don't need to take it from me. You can go your own way.
Find your own way.
You can call it another lovely day.
Another lovely.
You can go your own way. Find your own way. Tell me why everything turned around. Giving love's all you gotta do. If I could, maybe I'd give you my world. Open up, everything's waiting for you. You can go your own way.
Find your own way.
You can call it another lovely day. You can go your own way. Find your own way. You can go your own way.
Find your own way.
You can call it another lovely day.
Another lovely.
You can go your own way. Find your own way. can go your own way. You can go your own way. You can go your own way. You can find your own way.
I wonder if Lindsey Buckingham knew that that would be a church song. Surely wonderful. Yeah. So, thank you for your support of Unity Rochester. You have any needs, any dreams, prayer requests, put it in the box. If you know of somebody that needs prayer, put their name in the box. If you have some suggestion about this community, put it in the box. Okay, so. What do we got? Friday. Holy Week. We'll have a Good Friday meditation at noon. It'll be about 30 minutes, based on the 7 last words of Jesus. And it gives us a prescription, some steps that we can consider whenever we're going through difficulties. Okay? We're finished with the book discussion, and so the Wednesday evening discussion and the after church discussion has completed. Okay. We're finished with that, but we're continuing with the Thursday noon meditation, and prayer chaplains are still doing their work. So as we all stand up for our closing prayer, the prayer chaplains will come forward. Okay, so let's all stand, because we're going to say the prayer for protection, about the presence and power and light and love of God. And I was thinking of rewriting it again this week, okay? Because we're going to make it for you. We're going to say this for others. Because as we send this blessing out, it works. And it comes back to us. So think of an image, a story, a situation that you've heard of this week, and let's direct the power of this prayer there. Together. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well, and there is peace. Slava Ukraini. Peace.